I like to think of it almost like the Martin Luther moment in the Gutenberg Bible, with the power of this technology to reach every human on the planet, to improve their quality of life. Technology is fundamentally neutral. Every technology can be used for good and for evil. How do we shape this one as a force for good?
Hi, welcome to the Global Missional AI Podcast, where faith meets technology and where we explore how innovation can serve the kingdom of God. My name is Joshua Seal, and I serve as the Director of Global Missional AI. Imagine a technology more transformative than the internet, where instead of humans adapting to computers, computers finally adapt to humans. Pat Gelsinger believes we're living in that moment right now. As retired CEO of Intel and now Executive Chair of Gloo and Head of Technology, he has spent decades at the forefront of technological innovation. He's also lived his entire adult life as what he calls a workplace minister, bringing his faith explicitly into the tech world. Pat's message is urgent. The faith community missed the moment with social media, and those platforms are now 50-50 good or bad. AI is far more important because it embeds values at its core. We need to show up this time and shape this technology as a force for good. Today, we're exploring why this moment matters, how to embed human flourishing into AI systems, and Pat's challenge to developers: do some cool stuff, build some excellent products that serve the kingdom. But before we begin, I'm excited to announce some details about the Global Missional AI Summit 2026. It will be taking place April 7th through the 9th in San Jose, California. We're excited to be in the epicenter of AI and bring in leaders and speakers in the space from across industry, from across the faith sector, who are building and leading in this area. We plan on having around 1,000 people at this summit next April and are going to be opening up registration in the next month or so. Please go to missional.ai to sign up and receive updates for when tickets become available. One other thing, a quick word from our partner, Gloo. Gloo is the technology platform for the faith ecosystem, providing values-aligned AI and comprehensive solution for ministry leaders. Visit Gloo, gloo.com to find out more. We're also grateful to Gloo for enabling the Global Missional AI Summit to happen, for this podcast, and also for this conversation with Pat Gelsinger. Let's dive into this conversation.
Hi, I'm Pat Gelsinger, retired CEO of Intel. I'm the chairman of the board of Gloo and general partner with Playground Global, a venture capital firm.
Pat, thank you for being with us for a little conversation. We're recording some of these episodes, as you know, here at Missional AI, and you've just come off the stage having had a discussion with Steele Billings from the Gloo AI team. You're now in Gloo, maybe in a slightly more formal way than has been the case in the past. What is it that's attracted you to come and be a part of the Gloo team and particularly lead out on the technology as we are in this pivotal AI moment?
Well, one is that, I've lived my life, right, with two pillars: faith, technology. And, technology, I've been blessed to participate in some of the most seminal technologies of the last couple of decades. And that's super cool. Yeah. And then came to Christ at 18 and, have lived as a workplace minister, a full-time minister, as I say, just in the workplace. Yeah. And with Gloo, I can bring those two together in a very explicit and fundamental way. So that's exciting to say it's faith and tech. And fundamentally, I think the faith ecosystem has had lousy tech, for the last several decades, and it's like, okay, can we embrace this period of time with internet, mobility, with cloud computing and AI, the big daddy of them all, and be able to bring technology to the faith ecosystem at scale so that we're enabling the mission of the faith community. And if we think about the faith and flourishing community, this is at the heart and soul of what we do. And can we do that with the best technology? Can we be more efficient? Can we do it with more reach, with more global capacity, et cetera? And that's pretty thrilling.
Yeah. I mean, just give us your thoughts on the AI moment that we are in. there's a lot of hyperbole in some parts of the world in this space, but also it seems to be becoming more and more grounded that this is the reality we're going to be living with in the very near future, that we could live with a super intelligent life form living alongside us, and that presents all sorts of challenges, but massive opportunities as well. How are you characterizing that when you're speaking with the stakeholders at Gloo?
Well, first is, I think this is the big kahuna. This is the biggest one that we've seen yet. But, every wave is bigger when you go to the technology. And, I like to say, hey, I remember the first time I used the internet. It was like going to the Holy of Holies.
Okay.
Right? And I did it on a Tuesday. And Friday, I was going to go back to the lab and do it again.
Yeah.
Right. And to me, it was just as a technologist, like, oh man, this is like so cool to go on the internet. And I was connecting up with UCSD and, doing the first FTP transfers. It was like, wow, this is like so very cool. Now, if you kept your teenager off the internet for 10 seconds, you have ruined their very existence.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't take away that Wi-Fi password.
Oh my gosh. Right. And AI is going to be bigger than that, right? Obviously, it will be infused in everything. So, just like the internet, we're connected and Wi-Fi. Well, AI is going to be infused in everything. And it's going to build on the shoulders of all the technology that we've done for PCs, mobility, internet, wireless, et cetera. So it's bigger. And one aspect of AI that I think, just makes it so critical is, to this point, we're sort of 75 years into what we'd say modern computing as we know and love it today. But over that 75 years, humans have been adapting to computers.
Yes.
With AI, computers adapt to humans.
Right.
Which means we're going to be able to cross aspects of, the user interface of computers, how they integrate into human life that we've never been able to do before. And if we think about the faith mission, right, reach every people, right, the great commandment, go into all the world and tell. Right, that's led to Bible translation and language and all that kind of stuff. Well, now we're going to be able to do it all right, with AI. What a powerful tool to be able to get that out. And, in many regards, I like to think of it almost like the Martin Luther moment in the Gutenberg Bible. That's right. We're going to change it all with the power of this technology to reach every human on the planet, to improve their quality of life, to educate every child living in poverty today, to solve diseases that have been untractable, before. And that's what we're going to do. And because we do it out of our faith, right, our passion to accomplish that and the mission that we do, in the name of Christ is truly extraordinary.
I mean, obviously, huge opportunity, and we see the excitement here, and you hear from participants here at the conference and all the dialogues that have been going on, just how much opportunity there is on the table. At the same time, we have to temper the other side of that argument. One of the things that's been interesting that's coming out of Gloo working with Harvard is on the flourishing standards and thinking about how do we also ensure that AI is a safe place and an important place to keep safe, as well as it begins to shape us. You mentioned we are shaping technology as well. How can the church be shaping the future of this technology?
Yeah, and I do think it is shaping technology as a force for good. And that how I view it, because technology is fundamentally neutral. The same printing press can produce the Bible as produce pornography, right? And, every technology can be used for good and for evil. How do we shape this one as a force for good? And how do we make sure that the large language model, when asked the question, should I divorce my spouse? Or, what do I do when I'm bullied at school? Or, fundamental questions about vocation and wellness and health, that we get the answers that we want. Right. And we embed those into the large language models. And, one of the things I was involved with the net neutrality regulations, what became, the 320, Section 320. And, the faith community, we didn't show up for the social network. Right. And today, are social networks good or bad? Well, there's, most studies show it's about 50-50. Right. And imagine if we sent a drug, right, into common use, and it was 50-50. I'm either going to make you better or I'm going to kill you, right? Okay, it would never pass FDA, right?
Yeah.
Go back and fix the drug,
Right?
Right?
Absolutely.
Keep working on the chemistry, improve the molecule, right, and so on. It's unfathomable, right?
Absolutely.
That we let social networks be that denigrating to humanity, right? And yet we use them every day of our lives. Well, hey, AI is way more important than that. Way more important, because we're putting knowledge, understanding, the history of all things, and at the heart of it is our values, right? And that's where I see, the Harvard, Baylor, work around human flourishing, and we need to embed that into the core of the models, into the benchmarks, the standards, that we drive and create out of it, because we need AI to be a technology that truly is a force for good.
Absolutely. Well, in closing, just one of the things that I think it's worth us saying for this audience is that Gloo is committed to building out all sorts of parts of this ecosystem, from the open work to obviously individual applications, and then obviously for the developer community. For those that are watching who are mostly in that developer space, what encouragement would you be giving them right now in terms of how they can partner and be part of this faith ecosystem?
Well, I'd say a couple of things. One, is do some cool stuff, right? I'll just say do great products, do great innovation, because if I have great tech with lousy values,
right,
or I have great values with mediocre tech, which one wins?
Yeah,
the good product, the great products, they win.
Yeah.
Independent, right? So we got to do great products. Right? We at Gloo, we have to do great products, but fundamentally our job at Gloo is to enable you to do great products, great services, things that are built on the best stuff, so that you can do the best work that you can possibly, do. So it has to be good, right? God desires excellence. Showing up for work. In my life verse, Colossians 3:23, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men. Right? As when you show up, I expect you to be excellent. And we need to enable you to do excellent products, excellent services that truly are best in world, right? It's not like, oh, Google's here and we're here, but the other products in our space are down here, so we're better. No, you suck, right? We
need to get level.
Yeah, we need to be best in class with our technology, and our job with Gloo is to help you accomplish exactly that. But I'd also say is, how do we use these technologies to truly accelerate our missions? Things that might have taken decades before in translation. Hey, can we make that weeks?
Right.
But it isn't just Bible translation. Can we solve translation?
Yeah, much
right. For every field, for medical field, for psychology and coaching and human interaction. Right?
Yeah.
Build great products that are useful broadly, and we will better execute the Great Commission and the Great Commandment in the process. This is a thrilling time to be a technologist, right? And my only regret is I'm not 30 years younger and starting my career, because we have decades of really cool stuff in front of us, and it's really a pleasure to be able to talk to these developers and hey, let's go do some cool products. As Robert Noyce said, go out and do something wonderful. Yeah. Let's do some really wonderful things, just as the founder of Intel said.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for doing some wonderful things here at Gloo, and we're glad that you're here now doing what you're doing, because we need it. So, Pat, thanks so much for the time for chatting with us.
Thank you so much.
We wish you well.